the amount of times that I've started making this video and never finished is absolutely absurd. So everybody's been asking about an update on these Dawn Redwoods, and I guess an update on my trees in general, because I haven't posted any videos regarding my bonsai trees in, I don't even know, maybe a year, or yeah, about a year, I guess. And that wasn't even really an update video, that was just, I don't know. Anyway, so this is my Dawn Redwood. I got it in 2014 as a 2-year-old seedling, or a 2-year-old sapling. So the tree's 8 years old. It's been in my care for 6, which is the oldest tree that I have in my collection, or some of the oldest trees that I have in my collection. This is one of 2 of the Dawn Redwoods that I have that I got at the same time. And this has been their first growing season in the ground. So this year, this one's put on pretty much from here to here in growth, so about 30 inches, a little under 30 inches. And it's probably doubled in trunk size. This one's done much better than the one that I planted a little bit further in the yard. We'll go take a look at that one in a bit. But this one's probably doubled in trunk size, while the other one really hasn't grown all that much at all. So we'll be able to compare the two. Yeah, so last time I made a video on these trees was probably 2.5, 3 years ago, and got a lot of comments and inquiries about these trees, how they're doing. A lot of people said that they wouldn't survive. I probably ended up removing 95 to 99% of the root mass that these trees originally had, and yeah, it was some pretty drastic root work. But I think, well, I'll show you guys, we'll do a close-up of what's happening down at the base here in a bit, but I think the root work paid off and is continuing to pay off. And yeah, these trees are probably on a track, maybe 2 or 3 more years in the ground. I think we'll get them about where I want them, maybe longer, depending on how they develop over these next couple years. And yeah, so I just wanted to make a general update video. We're actually going to end up doing just a tiny little bit of work on the roots, because I noticed that while I was gone, one of the roots has taken a twist and is kind of starting to grow back on top of another root. So we're going to correct that before it gets any worse. We're going to do a little bit of work on this. I have my cypress tree that's a little bit further in the back. We're going to work on that a little bit as well. And that has also put on a tremendous amount of growth. Pretty insane how much that thing has changed over the course of the last 2 years or so. Yeah, so I'm going to take you guys in, show you guys the structure, how it's developing. We'll do that root correction real quick, and I guess I'll show you the rest of the trees. And hopefully I can get this video done, because I haven't been able to do that. Also, it's December 24th right now. It's about, I guess, 45, 50 degrees outside. Welcome to Louisiana. So you can see, we're in the middle of December, but some of the leaves, they're still changing colors. They're still falling off. Still haven't had total leaf defoliation. It's been pretty warm. Actually, yesterday was probably in the 60s or 70s. So yeah, I'll take you guys in. We'll take a look at this. All right, so this is a close-up of let me angle this so I can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, so this is a close-up of the trunk. Here's it compared to my hand. My hand's about maybe 7 inches from the tip of my middle finger to the palm of my hand. So you can see this is only about maybe 1.5 inches or so. But whenever I put it in the ground, it was maybe 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. So it's pretty darn close to doubled in size since I put it in the ground over the course of one growing season. So I'm assuming as I'm almost certain that once the roots get more and more established into the soil, or the native soil that we have here, it'll start putting on a ridiculous amount of growth. Dawn Redwoods have been recorded to grow almost 7 feet a year. So there's a lot of growth to happen, I guess. Pretty exciting stuff. So you can see it has a pretty good nabari, pretty good root spread at the base here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major surface roots right here. The issue root, the problem root, is this one right here. You can see it comes off the trunk over here. There's a main part of it that goes this way, and then it wraps this way. So right now I'm going to cut here and cut here, and that'll sever this, and it'll keep it from growing across how it is right now. I'm going to make the first cut here, and the second cut here, just to cut off that supply from this one root. And there we go. So that's the root chunk. As you see, there's a lot of fine feeder roots on here. There's a pretty significant root, maybe, I don't know, half an inch, I don't know inches, but a pretty substantial root that just came off right there. I'm gonna fill this back in a little bit, try to cover up this little cut, but that's about all we need to do for this tree, and that's the only thing that I was really worried about. We'll try to bury this root a little bit further into the ground, make sure that this survives, and hopefully that gets growing in a nice direction. There's a lot of fine feeder roots that are underneath this root. There's this main root that's coming off the side of it right here, a bunch of fine feeder roots right here, and then hopefully this one will survive and we'll have good direction coming on 3 different spots off of that main root. Yeah, I think that the potential front of this tree is probably on this side right here, because there's this main root, there's a root that comes off the back right here. So this side of the tree that's facing this way, right here, I think this is going to be the front of the tree. So that's the plan, and yeah, it looks like it's on a good path to be getting there. So I'll take you guys to the cypress tree, and we'll check out what's going on over there. All right, so this is my bald cypress, Taxodium stitchum. I guess I've had this tree for maybe even longer than I've had the Dawn Redwoods, honestly. Whenever I got this tree, it was maybe a little bit shorter than what it is now. Yeah, I got it from a big nursery, in a big nursery container, maybe a 5 or 10 gallon pot. The trunk was maybe an inch in diameter or so, and it was a very interesting story, and we'll be able to see the remnant of that story whenever I show you guys around the tree. But pretty much I tried to do a pretty major root pruning in the middle of the summer, like mid growing season. This is whenever I first started growing trees, and I had almost complete dieback. Like the entire top of the tree died, and all I had was a stick with maybe like three massive, like major like nubs of roots left. No fine roots, nothing, no branches, no leaves. It was literally just a stick and some more branches coming up the bottom, pretty much. And I figured the tree was dead. I had pretty much given up. I threw it in a bucket of water. It wasn't even planted in the ground. I threw it in a bucket of water, and that was it. I left it in that bucket of water, and I didn't even think about it. It was just a branch. It was just a stick at that point. And about a month later, a bunch of little shoots started popping up. Just here and there, a bunch of little buds started popping up. So what I did was I planted it in some sand, a bucket of sand that was just filled with water. And that was it. For the next year, the tree grew with those two little, just pretty much 2 buds, no roots, and just in a bucket of sand. And those 2 shoots ended up being this main shoot that you see right here, and this smaller side one right here. So in that 5 years since I planted in that bucket of sand, this tree, everything that you see on this tree, from the roots, pretty much from here to here, that's original. Everything else has been grown since those 5 years, and it's probably doubled or tripled in diameter. As you can see, the root spread on this thing is pretty insane. All right, not really insane, but just compared to what it was, it's pretty impressive. Pretty much it goes from here to maybe about here on the root spread. So at its widest point, it's about 5 or 6 inches wide. So pretty impressive, I think. I would think maybe in 3, again, this is its first full growing season in the ground. It was in an 18 gallon pot before I planted it in the ground. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty pretty substantial amount of growth. I think all of, pretty much from up here, which is off camera, I think, to, again, I mean, Cypress is a little bit slower growing than Dawn Redwoods, but I mean, this is a good, let's see, I'll measure it with my hands, maybe 25 inches of growth or so. So, yeah, I mean, really, really impressive growth on this tree. We have a lot of twigging. At one point, I had almost considered this like ready to be developed, ready to be like start its finalized styling. So there's a lot of smaller twigging way down here, all of these twigs and such, which I don't think I'm going to end up using anymore. So I definitely need to reduce a lot of this twigging because it's all just grow. There's like multiple branches coming out of multiple spots. So that's probably all the work I'll be doing on this tree this year, or during this fall, this winter, before spring, just because I don't want a lot of this swelling up and creating all these bulges everywhere, because there's already starting to be some bulges. But yeah, I'll bring you guys a little bit closer into this and you'll be able to see the roots. And just keep in mind, all of this was built from the ground up. I mean, pretty much an actual stick is what this started out as. An interesting feature, I guess if you can call it that, is that because this was a stick and because it was floating in water, one half of the stick that I threw in that bucket was submerged and the other half was exposed to the air. And the part that was exposed to the air didn't get any moisture, and it didn't have any water. So whenever this tree started growing again, that whole half died off, and this tree grew as a half of a stick for a really long time. Just now, or just over this past year, it's almost completely grown around itself. So the stick is almost completely new. You know, it's almost completely healed over. And I suspect that by the time this tree is ready to come out of the ground in the next 4 or 5 years, it'll have completely healed over, and it'll be a hollow tree, but it'll be almost probably unnoticeable. If not, it'll be a pretty cool hollowed feature. But it's just, I think it's pretty amazing that this tree not only survived, but it's turning out to be one of my best trees. So I'm pretty proud of it. All right, so this is the base of the tree. Here's my hand. Again, my hand's probably about 6 inches or 7 to 8 inches across from top to bottom. So it starts here, ends way over here. That's about where it goes into the ground. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this fifth one splits into 2 right here. So 6 noticeable major surface roots. So yeah, you can see that characteristic cypress bark that exfoliates in the spring. And there's a beautiful reddish color underneath it that you can't really see right now. You can kind of see it on the roots. But yeah, so whenever I put this tree in the pot, or whenever I put it in the in that bucket of water, it was about here. So where my finger is right here, and one of these roots were all that was, like these 3 major roots. That was all that was on this tree. So it was only about, what is that, 6 or 7 inches tall, and yeah, and everything else that you see is grown from that stick that was in the water. So I won't show it because I'm still not exactly sure what I want to do with this tree yet, as far as, or what I plan on doing with all these twigs and such. But my plan for this is to remove a lot of this twigging, just because this tree is nowhere close to being a finished design or showable, presentable design. So I just want to get rid of all this small twigging, because right now it's just clutter and it's kind of, it won't be used probably in the final design. But I'll show you guys around the back, and you'll be able to see that large hollow that's developed and is starting to seal over. Sorry, there's some twigging in the way. We'll move some of this out of the way so we can see a little bit better. But so you can see this area right here. This is all just dead wood right here, unfinished, untreated dead wood. You can see up here it actually has started to grow into each other. These two have started to graft together. And then this hollow goes all the way down. This tree is completely hollow in the middle. there are no roots directly underneath the trunk. The only roots that are feeding this tree are the ones that you see on the surface. So all of these roots are the only, it's a completely flat bottom, which hopefully will make it pretty easy to transfer this into a smaller pot once we're done, or once it's done growing in the ground. And cypress is a pretty forgiving species as far as root pruning. So once it's in a pot, you can remove a lot of roots from cypress. You can remove almost all of their roots, and as long as they're growing in water, they'll pretty much grow back almost completely. So that's what I do with a lot of my cypress trees. I'll prune their roots almost completely off, and then if you put it in a bucket of water, it'll grow pretty much like a cutting, pretty well, as long as there's some sort of root structure there that's left. And yeah, I mean, it's doing fantastic. I'm very surprised. I'm very glad that it survived. At this point, it's one of my favorite trees, and I'm really excited to see how it develops these next couple years. So this is my other Dawn Redwood. It's the same exact age as the other one, but as you can see, it definitely did not have as successful of a growing season as my other one. This tree actually had an issue with ants that were digging up a lot of the soil. There's probably some root damage that happened because of that. And the trunk has pretty much stayed roughly the same size it was whenever I put it in the ground. So yeah, I don't even know if it's even put on that much new growth. Maybe a few inches, maybe like 3 or 4 inches at most. I was actually really worried that this tree wasn't going to make it, and a lot of these branches have actually died back, and it's kind of weak at the moment, but like all of these branches are dead. But these buds are still alive. They're still the tree's still doing decently well. I'm just hoping this next growing season is a lot more successful, and hopefully it'll start building up a bit more strength, and hopefully it'll establish itself a little bit better in the soil here, and we'll start seeing more growth similar to my other tree. But I was very worried that this tree wasn't going to make it. I'm glad it's made it through its first season in the ground, and hopefully it'll build some strength and be better next year. So this tree is on a similar plan, a similar schedule to my other Dawn Redwood, just maybe a year or two behind, depending on how it performs this next season. But yeah, so I'm just glad it's survived, because I was extremely worried. Yeah, so this is Dawn Redwood number 2. Similar procedure as the last one as well. I removed maybe 99, probably around 95-99% of the root mass, and it grew in an 18-gallon pot for about 2 years, a year and a half or so. And just this past year, I planted it in the ground. So yeah, that's an update on that. It's alive, just barely, but it's alive. Yeah, so that was my little update on the Dawn Redwoods mostly, because I know that's what most people were interested in. But all my trees in general, a little bit of a update on all of them. Yeah, I can't really make videos all that often. I don't live in Louisiana, in college, all the way across the country. I transferred school, so I was at Lewis and Clark last semester in Portland, and now I'm at Tufts University in Boston. So just moving around, don't really have time, and I don't have the time or space or capability to take all my trees with me. So I very rarely get the chance to come back and look at how everything's doing, which is why a lot of these trees were planted in the ground, or that's why the Dawn Redwoods specifically and the Cypress tree were planted in the ground in the first place, because I knew that there were going to be long-term projects that I wouldn't have access to all the time. So it was the safest bet. But yeah, so I hope that serves as some sort of or satisfies everybody's interest in what the hell happened to these trees, because it was pretty crazy operation I did to them. And yeah, I want to keep doing videos. I want to keep doing tree videos. I just I'm not here, and I don't have trees with me constantly, so it's hard to make videos all the time on trees that I don't have access to. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this quick update, and you know, I hope in 3 or 4 years you get to see something that's a little bit more of a finished product, and hopefully I'll have more to say and more to do with these trees. So yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video, or some short film, or some whatever project I end up doing. So yeah, see you guys whenever that happens.